1000 LB Sisters. Tammy Slaton's complicated living situation explained. She's lived with almost every Slaton and it ended badly. Tammy Slaton's living situation has always been complex, but her problems came to a head during 1000 LB Sisters Season 6. The 38-year-old influencer weighed 725 pounds at her heaviest, so she's always needed a lot of help with day-to-day life. The fact that she needed so much assistance meant that she could never really live alone. Now that she's lost a significant amount of weight, she's regained her mobility, but she may have trouble taking care of herself. Tammy never learned to be independent, which continues to cause problems in her life. After treating her food addiction and having bariatric surgery, Tammy lost an incredible 500 pounds. She's still learning to treat herself well after a major change. Over the years, she's lived with almost every one of her 5 siblings, and she burned a lot of bridges along the way. She'd been living with 43-year-old Amanda Halterman, but when it ended badly, Tammy needed another residence, and fast. During 1000 LB Sisters Season 6, Tammy needed another family member to step up and take her in. For a time, Tammy lived with her mother, Darlene Redner, and that worked well enough for a while. The problem with Tammy is that she's difficult to get along with. She was always fighting with her mother and generally making her life difficult. Tammy always ends up butting heads with the people in her life, and her mom was no exception. The rest of the Slatons make excuses for Tammy's behavior, chalking it up to her size. It's just very hard to feel bad for Tammy because she's her own worst enemy. After leaving Darlene's house, Tammy spent some time living with her sister, 37-year-old Amy Slaton. When Amy married Michael Halterman, Tammy moved into the house next door. This was the most independent Tammy had ever been. Though she still needed help with her daily needs, she had her own space. When Tammy got sick and had to check into a weight loss rehabilitation facility, her house was robbed. After getting out of rehab, Tammy didn't feel safe living there, and she needed a new residence. Tammy's other sister, Amanda, stepped in, offering to let Tammy live in her guest house. That worked for a while, but, as usual, Tammy's stubbornness gets in the way of her relationships. After Tammy and Amanda fought during a 1000 Pound Sisters Season 6 family meeting, Tammy refused to make amends with her sister. Her extreme stubbornness wouldn't allow her to humble herself. Instead of making up with her sister, Tammy decided to move out of Amanda's guest house. As always, when Tammy gets in trouble, one of her siblings rushes to her aid. This time, it was her brother, 1000 Pound Sisters Chris Combs, 41, who came to Tammy's rescue. Chris and his wife, 36-year-old Brittany Combs, recently bought the house next door to their own home, as an investment property. They'd planned to rent the house out to a tenant, but decided to let Tammy live there instead. Brittany worried that letting Tammy live next door could lead to drama. Brittany reminded Chris that Tammy had butted heads with every family member she ever lived with. Chris knows better than anyone what a handful Tammy can be. As the patriarch of the family, he's been helping care for his hot-headed sister since long before joining the cast of 1000 Pound Sisters. She had even lived with him once, briefly, many years ago. Though 1000 Pound Sisters star Chris knows that letting his famous sister live next door will lead to trouble, he explains that he can't let her be homeless. Chris said that he'd do his best to take care of Tammy but wouldn't let her come between him and his wife. It remains to be seen how Tammy will burn her last remaining family bridge.